Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be here with you, getting into my weekly check-in for closing out the month of February. For me, February is done. The 28th starts a new day, a new paycheck period. That means on this day going forward into March, that is going to be the start of March, even though it's the last day of February. Today we are checking in for Friday the 21st through the 27th. Full disclosure, not that y'all need this, but these two items actually happened here on Wednesday. Today is Thursday. I'm just putting it there to have room, basically. I might spend money today, but if I do, it's going to be included in March, and you'll see it reflected in March, and that'll be fine. I actually have an extra debt payment I'm making as well today. We're going to discover how much I spent this week and what's left over, and if I'm moving any money over into March. So that is what we're closing out. We're also closing out paycheck 2. So we'll go through the weekly check-in. I have my little sheet here. We'll check all the things off. Then we'll go to paycheck 2, put all the numbers in, and then we will close out the month. So today is monthly budget closeout. And I do that by closing out weekly check-in 4 and paycheck 2. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. I'm excited to share my weekly check-in with you, and you can kind of get an idea of how I do my budgets. But I do a monthly budget, I do a paycheck to paycheck budget, and I do weekly check-ins, as well as a Mortgage Monday once a month and a sinking funds setup and close out. So there's a lot that happens here, a lot of videos that go up once or twice a week, and I'm excited to share that. The end of the month is always a flurry of a bunch of videos because I'm transitioning from one month to the other, and I'm trying to do it as smooth as possible. We'll see how March goes because I haven't filmed anything for March. I usually have by now the monthly and paycheck 1 setup, but I don't have that yet, so I have a lot of filming to do today. So now that we're ready, when I do my weekly check-ins, the color code key system here is what I use, and I do it in the exact order I have it. So the first thing I look for is grocery household. That's where I spend most of our money, is just running back and forth to the store. There are things that my family goes through so quickly, like twice, at least 2, maybe 3 times a week, I'll have to buy milk. And I keep 4 gallons of milk in my fridge at all times. And when I get down to 1 gallon, that's emergency. We need to go get milk right away because we're not going to last more than a day. So for me, grocery store is somewhere I'm at all the time. And the first grocery transaction that we have is here at Meijer. I'm not going to go through the details of what we spent. It was just simply groceries and household items. It could be anywhere from anything that we eat from the grocery store and we're cooking meals from, to bathroom supplies or cleaning supplies, or just whatever you find in a regular grocery store. That's what goes in grocery household. We spent $108.74 stocking up on a few things for meals this week. The next thing I have is Amazon, $19.07. I bought some supplements, and they're actually coming today. I had them scheduled for today because it gave me like $1.50 digital credit, and sometimes we like using it for a movie rental or something like that. So if you don't need it right away, you know, that could save you some money if you're using Amazon like we do. But I did purchase some supplements for myself. At the end of the month, I have reoccurring subscriptions that are supplements here, and these are the different things. Some of them, this one here at the bottom is $23.33, and that is actually Liquid IV. My husband swears by this stuff. He used to get migraines all the time, and he wasn't hydrated well enough. And he started using these packets, and he's more hydrated than he was before. And those migraines are barely even happening. He still gets headaches sometimes, but they're not as bad as they were, and he can still get through his day a lot easier. So we always keep in stock Liquid IV, and I buy his favorite flavor, and I just have it on auto renewal. Amazon, $9.18, another supplement for my family. I'm not going to go through which one's which, but I'm just going to tell you how much. $13.08 and $25.73. The last thing we have is I stopped at the grocery store on the way home after going and get something to eat last night, and it was $50.56. I'm trying to remember what we got. I think I got 3 gallons of milk, 2 cartons of eggs, which was like $10. No, $12. They were over $6, just over $6. I'm like, okay. And then I got 6 teas, which are $1.60 a piece for my husband's lunches going into the next week. And he drinks 1 of these tea bottles a day. And they're Milo's sweet tea individual bottles. So it does cost more to buy it that way, but it's just more convenient, and it's how my husband wants me to purchase it. So we spend a little extra money doing that. And a handful of other items for the freezer and stuff like that. So that's what we purchased there. I really wish we had picked up creamer while we were there last night, because my husband's about out of creamer. He's the only one that drinks coffee. But I have to stay on top of the creamer and make sure he has enough. So that is what I have in grocery household. So let's total up exactly how much we spent. So that was a total of $249.69. Now moving on to restaurants. We had 3 restaurant transactions. The only reason I did the extra yesterday restaurant transaction was because I didn't feel like cooking. I just didn't feel like it. And I have been craving Arby's like crazy. It was very strange. I think because they remodeled our Arby's here and they kept bombarding with all these advertisements. I'm like, oh, I remember that. That sounds pretty good right now. And we had leftover money in the budget. Even though it brought us over in the category of restaurants, we still had grocery money left over that we weren't going to spend. And you know, my husband and I were just like, let's just go to Arby's and get it out of our system and then move on. And it's out of my system, so I'm happy with that. We try to go out to eat once or twice a week, and I think we're going to cut that back definitely to once a week going forward for a while for health reasons. And so hopefully we can stick to that. Papa John's, $62.77. That was the entire family, and we had it delivered, so a tip is included in that. And then over here, we went to Casa Fiesta Mexican restaurant, and that only happened because my husband was craving Mexican food after our missionaries from Mexico came in and did a whole dance and song, traditional Mexican mariachi band and everything playing in the background, and before they presented their missions and missionary trips to Mexico. So yeah, Mexico is one of many places where missionaries go, and our church has several people there, and we contribute money as a church to these missionaries, and they were just coming back and visiting and drumming up more support and things like that for the missions. The couple we met actually were in the retirement phase, so they weren't going back unless they chose to go back, but they weren't going back in the mission field. So they're here, they're retired, getting ready to retire, and they just wanted to give a report of all the years. And, you know, after hearing the music and stuff, my husband's like, hey, I need Mexican food now. I'm like, okay, whatever you say. Then how am I going to say no to that? Even I wanted Mexican after seeing that. Arby's, again, that was yesterday. That was $22.45 for 2 people, and we got 2 meals. So the average meal for eating out fast food is $10 a person now. I remember when it was like $7, $8 a person. Yeesh. How time flies. Okay, the only thing left... Oh, I got to total this up. So $62.77 plus $44.94 and $22.45, and that gives us $130.16. So that was the eating out. It's a little high. Like I said, we did an extra eating out, but we had the money left over in the budget, and it wasn't like we splurged on a huge dinner. We just went to Arby's, so it was okay. The only thing we have left is the 5919 with Marathon. That's our gas station that I typically go to. It's right down the street from our house. And that is everything as far as the spending categories go. We had no miscellaneous. We had no copay, no more copays. All the bills were paid at the by week 3 of the weekly check-in or paycheck 2. That's when they come out the last week of the month. There are no bills. And then all we have left now is to pay back the credit card for everything we spent. So everything you see on here went on the credit card, and every week I just go back and I make one payment to the credit card for the entire week, and I pay our spending that way. It's kind of like running it as a debit card, but it's going onto a credit card and then paying it once a week. So we are going to go here to the weekly check-in. We are at week 4 here, this here, and we're going to put our totals in for how much we spent. $249.69, $130.16. See, 0 for miscellaneous, $59.19, 0 for copay, 0 for unbudgeted. I forgot to write that on there, but that's okay. Unbudgeted is anything we didn't plan for that comes out of the checking account that we have left over as a buffer or something, or it's going to come out of these categories above that we have extra in. Did not do that this month. Mainly because we really needed to make an extra payment to the credit card. And we were able to do that, and I will show you how much that is in just a minute. So weekly check-in here, we had $494.82, and we're going to take out the $249.69. All right, that left us, let's move this in a little bit here, $245.13 left in this category. So this is why we were like, okay, we have over $200 left in our grocery household that we hadn't spent in the month of February, mainly because we were snowed in most of the month and we just got by. We didn't go a lot of places. We didn't do a lot of things. So we just weren't spending money, just like January. We've had snow most of January and most of February. So yeah, that was very unusual for the area we're in, but it was very cold, and yet yesterday was 70 degrees and now today's 50 degrees. So I'm not sure what the weather's deciding to do. We live in such an odd place. So we did go over budget. I am going to grab my red pen and we're going to total up how much we went over in eating out. So I had $72.15. Normally that would have been enough, but we decided to splurge a little bit this time. Minus the $130.16, and that left, or not left, but that means we were over $58.01. And I put it in red so that I can remember, hey, you went over here, and then you can think back whether it was frivolous or not appropriate, and you should do better next time, or, oh, it was okay, we had the funds, it was fine. It just went over in the category. As long as the rest of the categories combined were more than this, then we were fine. So that's what the situation was here, obviously. So miscellaneous, nothing changed there. I am so proud of us not using miscellaneous for random things to buy on Amazon all the time. Really cut it back. I only gave us like, I think $150, and we still have $49 left. I'm really happy. I hope to do it again next month, because next month, oops, that's too bright. Next month things are going to be a little tight again. A lot tight, actually, for specific reasons, and I will go over that later. So gasoline, we had $153.21 minus the $59.19. I thought we would be driving more, but we didn't, just because, again, we were snowed in, and normally we have things to do and places to go, and with the snow, I just don't go anywhere. It's not happening. No copay, so we still had $71.53. Obviously, gasoline, we still had $94.02 left over, and then 0 for unbudgeted. I have nothing in this section to really report. I don't know if I want to keep putting 5 weeks. I might just print what I actually need. Sometimes I have 5 weeks, sometimes I don't. I'll have to think about that, because I haven't been using the 5th week at all for a while. Okay, so how much cash did we have left after all that in our spending categories? So we had $245.13 minus the $58.01 plus the $49.81 plus the $94.02 plus the $71.59. Okay, so we have $402.54. That is a good chunk of change there. It's a really good chunk of change. So I'm excited that that was left over. I still had, I think it was like $150 or $60 left in our checking account as well, in addition to this. So we had a good amount left over at the end of the month, which means I can make a really good payment in total by the time the end of the month came to pay down debt that we've been putting on. So I am not going to check these yet because I have not actually transferred the money. Today's the 27th. My husband's deposits hit the 28th. So I want to wait until the deposits actually hit the checking account so I don't bring it too low, and then, you know, I just have that fear of not having any cash sitting in there. So I could bring it to zero, but I just don't like doing that. So I just wait 24 hours and do it the next day. So tomorrow I will come back and make the payment for how much we need to pay back the credit card, and that's what we're going to total up right now. So let's get the numbers. $249.69 plus the $130.16 and then the $59.19. All right, so I need to pay back the credit card for this amount, $439.04. That is what I owe the credit card today. I'll pay that tomorrow when all the pay hits. Now I need to go to our paychecks and close out our paychecks. Now, I'm not going to do this. I have the numbers written off camera, so I'll just fill in the numbers, but I'll just show you week 3 and week 4 are paycheck 2 in the paycheck to paycheck budgets. And so because of that, I can take the $292.87 plus the $249.69, those two numbers, and come up with a total for paycheck 2. And that's where I'm getting my numbers from. I'm not going to flip back and forth and do it again. I have it written off camera, and I'll just write and fill in the numbers. So that's what we're going to do right now, is go to paycheck 2 and fill in these numbers right here. Okay, I have all the numbers plugged in, and I know exactly how much we spent in our variable spending in my 6 categories, and I've added a few things here. So there was a deposit. My husband has the Upside app. Since he has to purchase gas with his work truck so frequently, he just scans the receipt and then he can get cash back. So he had $29.60. And so that got deposited in our checking account. I'm just accounting for it here. So that was an increase. And I'm not going to worry about all the differences and stuff like that. So we're going to total up the income and find out how much total we have. So let's go ahead and do that. $1,493.96. That balance forward from paycheck 1 to 2. Plus the $1,415.42. That is salary for my husband that came in, plus the $29.60. And that gives us $2,938.98 to work with. Now we have our bills here that came out. The only thing that went up, I don't know if I got the number wrong or if it did increase a little bit from one bill cycle to the other, but it was just some change there. Everything constantly moving up, and it's driving me crazy. And it's very incremental and small, so you're like, oh, it's not that big a deal, but it actually is a big deal. So I don't know. All right, so let's go ahead and total up the actuals for the expenses in this column. Okay, the number we came up with was $1,429.73. Obviously, it was just the difference between what that was right there. So not much, but so that difference was 16 cents. And yeah, it was 16 cents. It was probably some kind of fee for the county or the state or, you know, some kind of, I don't know. I would have to go back and look at my statement with AT&T. That's the hard thing about having auto pay, is that when it's automatically pay, you're not looking at your statements clearly. And I'm thinking about going back and examining each statement month to month and see what the changes are, why they're changing, if I agree with the changes, do I have a choice in them, so on and so forth. So I think I might be going back and at least getting a PDF version of the statement and looking at them on my laptop, if not printing them and putting them in my file folders. So I'll have to weigh the option on that and figure that out. So here we go, variable expenses, again, my spending categories, and then you're going to see here, Visa Go card. That is my husband's prepaid credit card, or yeah, prepaid card that he's had with our bank for years and years and years. I think he got it back in 2016, maybe even earlier than that. He deployed with the Navy quite a bit, and if he wanted to use his personal money, he wanted something safe that wasn't going to be attached to our actual bank account. It's its own account. And so we would put cash on this card. He would go overseas if he wanted to buy a meal, if he wanted to rent a hotel or an Airbnb or something in the country he was in for a port visit. He had those options available. And so he still has the card. He doesn't put a lot of money on it, or personal money on it. Things are just too tight right now to do that. But when he did cash in his upside cash rewards, I told him, just transfer $30. Just make it an even 30. He's like so excited to get the extra 40 cents. I'm like, just even numbers, make it easy. And so I had him transfer $30 so he could have a little extra cash. And then he didn't want to take a lot more than that, just because, for personal money, just because he knew we needed to make debt payments. So you see here, there's 2 pay credit card. That's what CC stands for, is credit card. So I've already made one payment to the credit card for $365.88 when we got to the end of week 3 of our weekly check-in before the next week. And I'm like, that's what we had available was a lot more than I expected. So I was like, I think I should go ahead and make a payment, and then the rest should be enough to get us through the week. And my husband's like, okay, that makes sense. And so I already did the $365.88 payment last week at the end of paycheck 3. And then today I decided to do $203.20 for paycheck 2, because that is actually what's left in the checking account to bring it to 0. So we're going to run the numbers and make sure they match the income at the top, and we should get end of the month 0. And that's what I'm hoping for. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so this is $1,479.25. Now let's go ahead and do compared to the income, $2,938.98, $1,429.73. And did I do that right? I did not. $2,938.98 minus $1,429.73 and minus $1,479.25, and I skipped over a number. Let's double check this. Okay. Let's see if I made or pressed the right buttons this time. Okay, we have $2,938.98 minus $1,429.73 minus, yes, $1,509.25, and that brings us to 0. So the end of the month, big fat 0. So every penny that I had left in our checking account is going to go to the credit card for a debt payment, and that was these two right here, the $365.88 plus the $203.20. We made a total of $569.08, which I think is, the snow helped with that because we just didn't spend as much, and I we were very conscious of everything that we spent. We didn't buy extras. We didn't use every coupon that came by that we didn't need that week. So just to get a deal, we're waiting to use the coupons as we need them, all those kind of things. So that is where I'm at here. And yeah, I'm happy with February. I'm happy we made that debt payment because we put so much debt onto the credit card and we bumped up the credit card debt. That is for sure. So I will make a separate video going into the next month in March, a debt confession of where we're at. It's not a negative thing. It's something we had to do, and it was just how we chose to do it. Be on the lookout for that going into the month of March. I'm not sure what day I'm going to put that video up, but I'll call it Debt Confession. You'll figure out which one it is. Go ahead and hit that subscribe to the channel, and like and hit that notification bell so you can catch that. I will have a Mortgage Monday come up the first Monday of the month, and I have got to get my monthly budget and Paycheck One budget set up. I'll be late on my videos that I enjoy doing, where I set up my stickers for the month of March and play music, and then my scripture writing and things like that. So I'll be late on those. It'll be after the first of the month. If you enjoy those, just know they're coming. I just don't know what day yet. This week has been a little bit crazy for me, but that is the closeout of the month. We just, yeah, everything went to the credit card. So let's go ahead and go here and set these up. So I know my monthly budget isn't a typical monthly budget closeout because I'm closing out week 4 and closing out paycheck 2. I'm going to show you on my monthly budget how this works as well. And this will be just at the end of the video. So I have all my income right here. I'll get my calculator back and I'll go ahead and total this up. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and put in for the month what we actually spent total. And this will give you a good idea of why I budget so high and try to spend low in order to cover everything and use the income that comes in wisely. Okay, I have everything filled in. I have squeezed in one more line item here. Pay the credit card, and I just combined those two totals that I am paying towards the credit card. So I'm going to total going across here 6103, which was, this was January's leftover income that went into February, and then 2960, which was a total of $90.63. Even though it was income that came in, you know, $30 went out of that, you know, over that. So it's just offsets each other, but it was part of the income, so I needed to account for it. So I'm going to total this over here, see what the number looks like. It's not that big a deal to actually track if you don't want to. I normally don't in the past, but lately I've been wanting to do it. So that was $100 that came in, and only 30 of it was actually that went out that kind of offset here. The rest of it came in to take care of the budget and increase it a little bit. So I would say it's $70 from the 6103 from last month. And then, so now I want to know, okay, minus the $30 and then minus the 6103. So $9.19 more was income for the salary and how they bumped and adjusted the retirement. Now this is the number going forward every month for the rest of the year. I've already seen March's income and I know what's going to happen on the 1st of March. So yeah, that's not increasing going forward. So let's total up the actuals. All right, so we were working with $8,187.45. Okay. Now we're going to do the totals of everything that's in this column. So $4,755.46 for this column. And now to this one. All right, so this column was $3,431.99. So crossing my fingers that when I take the income, not ACOM, I don't know what that was, income $8,187.45 minus the $4,755.46 in this column, and then minus the $3,431.99 in this column. There we go. Zero. I did it perfectly because end of the month, EOM, for you military folk out there, is 0. And that is my monthly budget. The numbers worked out perfectly. I spent every penny that came in, and there's nothing left of February. It either went to debt or it went to our spending of necessities and wants, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with this month. I'm happy we could put $569 because we've already trimmed down the budget so much smaller than what we used to spend even last year. So it keeps getting trimmed down in order to fit what we need, because we added the 2 Roths here and all of that, those transactions. So yeah, I am happy with the monthly budget. It's closed out. February's done and done. I'm ready to move on to spring and March. I will give you a sneak peek of what that looks like here at the end of the video. The colors and the stickers I'm using. So I designed these, and I think that turned out really, really cute. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time. Have an amazing and blessed day. Bye.
As a young girl, the fields were mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. So offshore, playful and free, without a